There are many corporate giants in the world today, but HSBC stands high and proud. The company traces its roots way back to the 19th century and has reinvented itself every step of the way to continue its dominance right into the present day. With its rich history and deep roots comes a lot of mystery. Many wonder who established HSBC, or how the corporation became so powerful, and if there is any truth to their alleged notorious mob ties. In this video, we're going to show you 10 crazy things you need to know about HSBC. We're OnlyBrands, the channel dedicated to bringing you awesome, regular content on the world's hottest brands. Let's do this. Number 1. Made in Hong Kong. In the 19th century, Thomas Sutherland, an employee of the Peninsular and Oriental Steam Navigation Company, was stationed in Hong Kong. Here, the Scotsman saw an opportunity in the local demand for banking solutions in Hong Kong and the Chinese coast. On March 3, 1865, Sutherland's bank opened its doors and the first branches were established in Hong Kong and Shanghai. Soon after, many other branches sprang up across China and the company became known as the Hong Kong and Shanghai Banking Corporation. Its strong network also extended to Europe and the United States, but precedence was maintained in the Asia-Pacific region, where it established itself as a pioneer in the region. HSBC was the first bank in Thailand and even printed all the national currency in 1888. In fact, HSBC issued China's first public loan and handled all of the country's subsequent loans following that. Thus, it enjoyed a monopoly on the region's services and became Asia's strongest financial institution by the end of the century. Over the course of the 20th century, the bank expanded from its regional operations to become one of the world's largest institutions. HSBC's leadership forged a three-legged stool strategy to place the bank in the Americas, Europe, and Asia Pacific. And so, HSBC then expanded into the United States by acquiring the Mainland Bank in the 1980s and finally purchasing the Republican National Bank of New York for $10.3 billion 2 decades later. In South America, the bank purchased the Banco Bameirandos of Brazil for $1 billion and acquired Robert Sa de Inversiones of Argentina for $600 million. The three-legged stool was finalized with the acquisition of the Crédit Commercial de France Bank for $6.6 billion in 2006. Many other subsequent smaller acquisitions have followed to further expand the bank's reach. Number 2. The largest bank in Europe. As of 2021, HSBC held $10.8 trillion in assets under custody (AUC) and further $4.9 trillion in assets under administration (AUA). There's no doubt that HSBC is one of the world's most powerful corporations and has been crowned as Europe's largest bank. The company's numerous offices serve more than 40 million customers in over 60 countries across Africa, Europe, Asia, North America, Oceania, and South America. Forbes 2022 rankings placed HSBC at number 38 among the world's top 2,000 companies in terms of sales, profits, assets, and market value. Only companies like Apple, Berkshire Hathaway, and JP Morgan Chase are ahead in the rankings. Number 3. Links to the mob and drug trafficking. Starting out a company in a distant foreign country is far from the most straightforward piece of business you can undertake. Participating in the region's local trade is quite the obvious thing to do, especially if, in this case, it is extremely lucrative opium markets. Nowadays, the links with crime haven't stopped, especially with Sinaloa cartel. In fact, HSBC has become notorious with several governments around the world. The US OCC, Office of Currency Comptroller, issued HSBC a cease and desist order over the company's failure to strengthen their AML, anti-money laundering policies. From 2006 to 2009, the company conducted no AML screening of over $15 billion in bulk cash and neglected the transactions of amounts totaling to $60 trillion in wire transfers. This first rodeo with the United States officials began a domino where governments of several countries fined HSBC for their lax policies with regard to money laundering. In 2013, over 700 Indian accounts were found to hide black money, using the services of the bank's employees to launder about $750 million with video evidence to support. Furthermore, the company was under fire for allegedly laundering money for drug dealers with offshore accounts in Jersey, a British island nation. Since then, the company has been fined after money laundering investigations by Switzerland, Argentina, South Africa, Australia, and the United Kingdom. A Upon the fine siege, HSBC was also sued by the families of Americans who fell victims to the Sinaloa cartel for participating in money laundering. Number 4. HSBC paid the largest bank fine ever. With no leeway from the hot trail of money laundering and misconduct investigations, HSBC was the subject of an investigation by US Senate for breaching money laundering rules and helping foreign countries such as Iran and North Korea to circumvent US nuclear weapon sanctions. However, the investigations relented on pursuing criminal action against the bank, citing that the possible closure of the bank's US charter would cause a devastating effect on the American economy. HSBC was allegedly responsible for laundering over $800 million for international cartels through the American financial system, and for processing about $600 million for the banks in sanctioned countries. During the trial, HSBC conceded to its lax measures toward financial operations of drug cartels and its branches, and the defiance of economic sanctions on countries like Sudan and Iran. The investigations ended up with a $1.9 billion fine, which meant HSBC had paid the largest ever fine in the history of the Bank Secrecy Act. By the way, a lot of hard work and care goes into these videos, so if you could help us out and click that subscribe button, we would greatly appreciate it. Number 5. HSBC's services covered the entire market. HSBC's operations are classified into 3 separate business groups: commercial banking, CMB, global banking and markets, GBM, and wealth and personal banking, WPB. The CMB division caters to small, medium-sized, and middle-market enterprises. The bank's GBM division is an emerging markets-led and financing-focused group which provides investment banking and security services for corporate clients. However, most clients deal with the WPB, which provides day-to-day financial services for the average customer, including savings, mortgage, insurance, loans, pensions, and investments. Number 6. HSBC's ties to Gaddafi. Besides trading opium in the past century and allegedly laundering for cartels, HSBC has been in the eye of the law for several reasons. Although defaced and fined by several governments, the bank has also been in bed with a bunch of other nations. Gaddafi's regime of Libya was allegedly a tight partner of the bank. HSBC were the custodians of assets worth billions of dollars under the Libyan Investment Authority, which was controlled by Gaddafi himself. Furthermore, the bank breached US sanctions of Iran between 2009 and 2014 by processing money transfers on behalf of Chinese company Huawei to the country. Number 7. Huge data loss mishaps. Banks are perhaps the world's most intrusive institutions, which are entrusted with not just money, but vital information that could change lives in a flash. Like the saying goes, with great power comes great responsibility. However, in a corporation as large as HSBC, several mishaps are bound to occur. In 2008, the company lost a disk containing the life insurance details of almost 400,000 customers. This was because the disk never arrived at its destination after being posted between offices. Furthermore, the disks were not encrypted, rendering them vulnerable to theft, and consequently, Britain's Financial Services Authority fined the company with £3 million following investigations. In 2015, HSBC once again let down customers by failing to process box payments, which took a toll on salary payments, house purchases, and payments for essential care homes. That was an especially juicy fact, right? I think that one definitely deserves a thumbs up. Number 8. The logo. HSBC's distinct logo has represented the company in all worldwide markets. It was adopted by the Hong Kong and Shanghai Banking Corporation in 1983, just after the three-legged stool expansion we mentioned earlier began. The logo was designed by an Austrian graphic artist known as Henry Steiner, who was responsible for the logos of IBM, Unilever, Standard Chartered, and Dow Jones. HSBC's red hourglass design was based on the St. Andrew's Cross and the founder's Scottish nationality. In 2018, the corporation made minor changes to the logo, which included flipping the word mark from left to right, changing the word mark's font, and making the red hourglass a darker shade. Number 9. Climate change controversy. Many sensitive topics can cause a negative backlash in the world today, and HSBC is no stranger to controversy. Now more than ever, climate change has become an even more pivotal topic, yet the bank was recently caught up in an accusation of supporting Malaysia's largest timber conglomerates. In the report published by Global Witness titled "In the Future There Will Be No Forests Left," HSBC was said to allegedly provide financial support to conglomerates who were largely responsible for deforestation in the state of Sarawak. Furthermore, the bank was accused by Greenpeace for providing funds to Indonesian palm oil producers for new plantations which encouraged deforestation. Even after discounting these allegations, the whole rodeo had no end. In 2022, the bank's global head of responsible investing, Stuart Kirk, lashed out at the, quote, nut jobs who kept yapping about the end of the world, unquote, in a conference presentation titled, quote, Why Investors Need Not Worry About Climate Risk. Needless to say, Kirk was suspended in May and fully quit his position in July. Number 10. HSBC is heavily invested in sporting teams and events. Just like NBA's American Express and the Premier League's Barclays, HSBC has put its stamp into the world of sports. The company initially sponsored the Jaguar Racing Formula One team until Red Bull purchased the team from Ford in 2007. Since then, the company has pivoted to golf, where they hold title sponsorships of several tournaments like the HSBC World Match Play Championship, WGC HSBC Championships, Abu Dhabi HSBC Golf Championship, and the HSBC Women's Championships. Besides golf, HSBC also retained the Rugby World 7 Series title sponsorship for 5 years. The corporation currently sponsors the Hong Kong Rugby Union and New South Wales Waratahs team in the Super Rugby Union tournament. HSBC is also the official banking partner of the Wimbledon Championships and retains the title sponsorship of its junior tournament. We appreciate you sticking around until the end of the video, but why stop now? Click these videos for more awesome content.